Hello friends. Now today we are going to see the next chapter of your part second, chapter number 6, classification of plants. In the last lecture we are already learned with about the Robert Whittaker's 5 kingdom system and the basis for the classification of plants. Now today we are going to see actually the classification of plants. Classification of plants is like this. Here kingdom plantae, that is plants, is divided into two categories, cryptogams and phenerogams. Let us try to understand what is the meaning of cryptogams and phenerogams. Cryptogams means non-flowering plant, while phenerogams is the flowering one. This is the main point of difference, that is non-flowering and flowering plant. Cryptogam is divided into three types: thallophyta, bryophyta, pteridophyta, while phenerogram is divided into gymnosperm and angiosperm. Angiosperm is divided into the two types depending upon the cotyledon present in the seed, that is dicot and monocot. Now here today we are going to see in this lecture what is meant by cryptogams. Now here we are going to see the characteristic feature of thallophyta with their example, characteristic feature of bryophyta with their example, and characteristic feature of pteridophyta with their examples. Right? Now let us start. The first one is the thallophyta. Now this division first of the cryptogam, because we already know the meaning of cryptogam, that is non-flowering plant. अपुष्प वनस्पती, ज्या वनस्पतींना फुलं येत नाही त्या वनस्पतींना आपण अपुष्प वनस्पती म्हणतो, आणि ज्या वनस्पतींना फुलं येतात त्यांना आपण काय म्हणतो, सपुष्प वनस्पती. इंग्रजीमध्ये त्यांना अनुक्रमे क्रिप्टोगॅम, दॅट इज नॉन फ्लॉवरिंग प्लांट, आणि फिनोलोगॅम, दॅट इज द फ्लॉवरिंग प्लांट, अशा पद्धतीने त्याचा उच्चार केला जातो. आता आपण सुरुवात करतोय थॅलोफायटा या पहिल्या डिव्हिजनच्या कॅरेक्टरिस्टिक फीचरला. Now let us see what is the first characteristic feature of division thallophyta. Now actually when we consider about the plants which are included in the division thallophyta, these plants are grown mainly in water. Now some of them grow in fresh water while some of them grow in marine water. याच्यामध्ये जे प्लांट्स आहे, वनस्पती जे आहे, सर्वसाधारणपणे आपण बघतो की पाण्यामध्ये याची काय होत राहते, वाढ होत राहते. काही हे गोड्या पाण्यात तर काही खाऱ्या पाण्यामध्ये वाढलेले आपल्याला दिसून येतात. नाव why the name of this division is given as thallophyta? Because the body of these plants present in this thallophyta are thallus in nature. What is mean by thallus in nature? That is, these plants do not have specific parts like root, stem, leaves and flower. They do not have specific parts like root, stem, leaves and flower. So the body of these thallophyte divisions plants is thallus in nature. Now third one is that they are autotrophic in nature, that is they can prepare their own food, so they are called as autotroph. Now in this case we find that there are number of algae comes together. Algae are the best examples of the division thallophyta. Now here when we observe algae shows number of diversity, that is the great diversity. They are either unicellular or multicellular. Some of them are microscopic while some of them are macroscopic. When we are going to see what are the examples of thallophyta, the examples of thallophyta is Spirogara, ज्याला आपण शैवाल म्हणतो. Second one is called as ulva. Third one is called as Ulothrus, Sargassum, etc. These are the characteristic feature of the first division thallophyta. Now let us turn to the next division, second division, that is the bryophyta. Now let us consider the first characteristics of bryophyta, that is plants belonging to this division of bryophyta, they are amphibious. They are amphibious. We must know what is the meaning of amphibious. Amphibious because they are grow in moist soil and requires water for reproduction. It means that they are developed in soil, they are developed in water also. So their nature is amphibious in nature, right? Third one, that their body is thalloid, that is thallus in nature. They are multicellular and they are again autotrophy like division first thallophyta. Now these plants are reproduced by the spores. Now when we consider about the structure or the special feature of the body shape, we find that the structure of body of these plants are ribbon-like. They are ribbon-like, flat and without actual root, stem and leaf. Instead of root and stem, they possesses the stem-like structure which is known as rhizoids. Rhizoids which support the plants. These are the root-like, stem-like structure which is called as rhizome. They have lack of specific type of tissue for the conduction of food and water. It means that there is absence of xylem and phloem. Now when we consider about the examples of second division bryophyta, the examples are Funaria, second one is called as Markensia, right? Third one is called as Anthoceros, etc. Right? These are the examples of second division bryophyta. Now let us turn toward the third division pteridophyta of cryptogam, that is the non-flowering plant. Right? Now the plants belonging to pteridophyta bear well-developed root, well-developed stem and well-developed leaf. They do not bear flowers and fruit. So they are included in the group cryptogam, that is non-flowering plant. Right? Now they bear separate tissue for conduction of water and food. Now these plants reproduces by means of spores which are formed in the posterior side of their leaves. Now when we consider about the example of pteridophyta, that is Nephrolepis, in our day-to-day life it is also known as fern, right? Fern is an ornamental plant. That plant is always we observe in our garden, and when we observe this plant we find that the structure of these plants is like a sword, and now when we find that at the posterior end of these plants we find that there are spores. Now reproduction of these plants occurs asexually by means of spores, and sexually there is a formation of zygote. This is all about the pteridophyta. The examples of pteridophyta is Selaginella, then Nephrolepis, etc. These are the examples of pteridophyta. Now in this lecture, once again I am going to repeat that we are studying about kingdom planting, in which the first one is cryptogam, that is non-flowering group. These are divided into three categories: thallophyta, bryophyta and pteridophyta. In the next lecture we are going to see what is meant by phanerogams, what are the types of phanerogams. Thank you.